Welcome to Bin Sense, and thank you for trusting Clews management with the monitoring of your grain. When you first log in, you will land on the dashboard. If you have multiple yards, you can click on the three dots at the top of the screen to switch between the yards. This dashboard view will show you a quick overview status of your yard. The System Status section will show how many remotes are reporting without issue with the green check mark, how many remotes are not reporting with the red X's, and how many bins are nearing or exceeded your set temperature thresholds with the yellow exclamation. The circle graph shows how many bushels of each commodity are currently stored in the currently selected yard. Selecting the Storage tab on the toolbar to the left will show you the bins in the yard with a grid card view. You can quickly see the status of the bins in the yard with a heat map, highest temperature, and moisture values, and if they have been trending up or down in the past week. You can also see your bins from a list view to see the highest temperature and moisture values across the row. The third option for yard view is the map view. In the map view, the bins will be colored based on how close the hottest sensor is to your threshold settings. Green means it is within parameters, yellow means it is 3 degrees from the set threshold, and red means it is at or above the set threshold. The bin circle will also be filled in based on how full the bin is, which is determined by how many sensors are covered. When you hover your cursor over the bin, you will see a pop-up similar to the one on the grid card view, showing a heat map and highest temperature and moisture values. If you click on the bin, you will see more details about the bin. The top left shows the bin name, commodity, and current bushels stored. Along the top is the maximum temperature and moisture values and their trends over the past week. If you have a remote fan control system installed, the top right is where you would be able to turn the fans on and off and set the run times. The right side of the screen shows the graphs and timelines for temperature and moisture in the bin. The default view for this is 1 week, but you can select for 1 month or a custom time period. You can also show the grain level, alerts, and battery voltage over the same time periods. The heat map on the left shows the individual sensors in the bin, and you can hover over them to see the grain temperature at that point. These sensors will also change from green to yellow to red as the temperature approaches your threshold settings. If you click on an individual sensor, the graph on the right will change from the bin's maximum temperature values over the time period to show that individual sensors reading. Selecting the table view will show the average temperature and moisture values across each level of sensors, which can help to identify when a hotspot or moisture has been blown out, to reduce the time that you need to run your fans. You can click on the Settings tab on the top of the screen to change the parameters of the bin monitoring. From here, you can change the bin name as well as choose from over 30 commodities. Selecting the correct commodity is important to ensuring the inventory tracking is accurate. When you make any changes to the name or commodity, you need to ensure you click on the Save Changes button here. The high threshold setting can be changed in this box. When the temperature of the bin nears this value, it will change from green to yellow to red, and you will receive an alert to your phone. The other value that is important for storing your grain is the weekly temperature rise. The default value for this is 2 degrees Celsius, and we recommend it be kept at that value. This setting will notify you if any sensor in the bin has increased in temperature by 2 degrees Celsius in the past week, regardless of the high temperature threshold. This is an important setting, because if your grain moves from 10 degrees to 15 degrees in 1 week, it may not be near the 30-degree threshold you set, but it still requires immediate attention. If you make any changes to the temperature settings, you need to ensure you click on the Save Changes button here. If you have the Bin Sense Plus automation system installed, this section is where you would put in the automation settings for the drying and cooling of the grain based on ambient weather conditions. If you find that the inventory tracking is not accurate or that the value of the bushel capacity of the bin shown here is not correct, the first thing to check is that the bin structure has accurate details. Going to the map view of the storage, you can click on the Edit icon here to unlock the editing mode. When you hover over a bin, it will show a pencil or trash can icon. Click on the pencil icon to see the bin structure details. You can change the name of the bin, as well as the physical dimensions. If you perform this function, be sure to only change the bin name and bushel capacity. When you click on the next button to save your changes, Continue clicking on Next without changing any of the monitoring settings, or you can disassociate the remote from the master and lose your monitoring for that bin. You can see the inventory storage for your yards by selecting the Inventory tab on the left toolbar. The left circle graph will show how many bushels of each commodity are in the currently selected yard, and the right graph will show how many overall bushels are stored in all of your yards, if you have more than one. The table on the bottom of the page can be expanded to show an overview of the minimum and maximum temperature and moisture values and bushel capacity of each bin. The Device Settings page on the left toolbar will show an overview of the temperature threshold and weekly rise settings for all of the bins in the yard. Note that bins that show the word thresholds under the High Temp Alerts column are bins that are either not monitored with BinSense or the commodity has not been selected from the settings page for the bin. Clicking on the pencil icon for a bin will open the settings. On the bottom is a slider titled Auto Level. This feature is used to automatically set the grain level and determine which sensors to monitor for grain. The system will compare the temperature of each sensor in the bin to ambient temperature. If a sensor's temperature fluctuates throughout the day similar to outside temperature, the system will determine that sensor is uncovered and automatically mute it. A sensor that is covered in grain will keep a consistent temperature throughout the day, and the system will know that it needs to monitor that sensor for grain. This setting will help prevent false alerts from an uncovered sensor seeing temperature rises, as well as set the grain level to keep inventory tracking accurate. If the order of bins is not as you prefer, you can edit the bin order on the top right of the screen. You can drag and drop the bins to rearrange their order as you like it. The Preferences tab is where you would find your account information and set up which phone numbers receive text alerts. You can add a phone number or email address to the list on the top right. Upon initial login, please ensure that all information on this page is accurate. The billing and payment page will show when the annual data fee is due for your account. Emails will be sent from the third-party payment system leading up to the bill due date. You can make payments through the link that is emailed to you or through this page. If you are receiving an excessive number of alerts for your bins, the first place to look would be in the Device Settings tab to ensure the auto level for the bin is turned on. If the auto level is turned on, then check the cables in the bins that are giving the alert. Bins that have rockets and hopper bottoms have a sensor close to the aeration. This causes fluctuations in the temperature throughout the day from ambient air coming in through the fan and can lead to false alerts. You can click on the bottom sensor of the cable in the bin giving the alert and see if the graph is showing temperature fluctuations. If it does, you can manually disable the sensor here. We recommend disabling the bottom sensor to start, and if the alerts continue, then disable the one above it until the false alerts are gone. Please be sure that you only disable up to the bottom two sensors to ensure you are not disabling too much of the coverage in the bin, and only on bins that have aeration rockets installed. Give the system a day before disabling more than the first sensor to ensure the system has time to adjust to the changes made. Thank you for taking the time to watch the setup video for the BinSense Live system on the website. If you have any questions or would like to have more training, you can contact us via the phone number or email listed, and we are always available to help.